Good morning, Namaste.
Good morning.
Oh my goodness. We did it. I want to cry.
Yes.
I will. It just works that way. No, I'm just going to let it flow. Thank you, though. Wow, I'm so grateful to get to see your faces. For 7 months, I've only seen your faces if you've been on Zoom, and just this much, and you haven't gotten a full frontal of me, so there you go. We made it. We made it here. And it's a very, oh, yes, please. Woo! So I'm just going to take a moment. Terry, our director, is going to pan around. So I'm just going to have you say hi to someone here, around here, and at the camera. Say hi to someone here. Good morning, Lori. So, couple things. First of all, dogs are here. Don't worry about the barking. I could care less today. It's so good to see everyone, the people that we love, the people that we call family. So I'm shouting a little so you can hear me, but they can hear me just fine. So there's a few folks that I just want to thank real quick. Yesterday, we moved Namaste. Yes. We moved Namaste from 129. So from now on, the building we were in is called 129. Okay. We are now in our new center, which is at Christ Lutheran Church, which is nearby. And we had a group of 12 people show up yesterday, and we moved everything that was left, which was only about 5% of everything we had in that building. So I'm going to, if you would just raise your hand if you were there yesterday. Thank you, Tori, Julie, Ray, Debbie Ann, Susan, Janine, Terry, Valerie, Lori, Chris Keeney was there, Julie Bathke was there, Rob Robinette was there, Robin
Allward, yes.
Allard was there. Wow, it was amazing. And the space is beautiful. The office is open and well lit. And Stephanie was there, our admin. Have you guys met Stephanie?
Yeah.
Oh, she is a gift. She is a gift. So at the end of the day yesterday, Ray and Terry and I and Lori sat in the sanctuary when it was all said and done and just took a moment of gratitude. And just as Ray says to all of us, I get to repeat it. What'd you say, Ray? It's real. It's real now.
It's real now. Yeah.
Namaste gets to have this a little lighter experience, which I say that because we've been so focused on a building for so long. And that's not a bad thing, but what we do get to do is we get to focus on what we do. What we do, not the bricks, not the floors and the ceilings and the windows and the security. We get to focus on what we do, which is we teach an amazing philosophy, and we get to focus on that. So I'm just really, really grateful. A couple things is we will continue to go virtual. We want to maintain that presence. We have a huge intention of growth, and I'm not necessarily meaning people, the numbers of people. The growth I'm talking about is we get to focus, and we get to really anchor into that growth. I want to thank Chris Schreiber, who's probably watching with her family in Idaho. Terry's like, what? I'm getting used to looking at a camera. And all she did, she would be here, but she's with her family. You will get to see her probably next week, I think. Next Sunday is our first Sunday in the building. And you're going to hear that a little reiterated. It is virtual, though. And I'm going to who's going to talk about that? Tori? Yeah. Tori's going to talk about what that means going forward, because we have some fun things planned so that you systematically can be in the service at some point. We have directors that are being trained so that we have folks doing what you see Terry doing here. Anyway, it's really great to see you. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our service. And Candace Stein, our practitioner extraordinaire, truly, is going to lead us in a meditation and a prayer and get our Sunday going.
Good morning, family. So good to see all of you. Truly. Warms my heart. And so let's take our collective deep breath, each of us in our own way, in our own time. Let's do that a few times. Just drinking in the sounds of the birds. And I find myself right now reluctant to keep my eyes closed. So you may keep yours open as well during this meditation, drinking in all that is, hearing the sound of the crow, the tweet of the other birds, the cries and the shouts of the children 50 yards back at the baseball diamond. All of this is spirit in action. We come together to celebrate our divinity, and so we pause in this sacred moment and contemplate the truth of who we are, the spiritual truth of what is, that we live in a spiritual universe. And this field of pure potentiality responds to us. It is responsive. So right now, I invite you to contemplate on what it is that you would like to have manifest and revealed for you in your life. And we'll take a moment or two to anchor that in, knowing that this law of creation will receive that and it will be made manifest. So take a moment to give thanks. Thanks for this opportunity to be outdoors together, to have some holy and sacred time to commune with each other and with the Holy Spirit that is within. Gently open your eyes if you've had them closed. I know behind each mask is a beautiful smile. I can see it in all of your eyes. And so I want to share a little bit about how coming together like this has been such an upliftment for me. And I know Reverend Bobby spoke of that for herself. And I imagine it's the same for many, many of us. That the expectations that we've had get to be realized today, and that we get to come together safely and see one another, hear one another without much of a barrier at all. Not on Zoom, not on virtual camera, but really together. So for this community, I'm very grateful. I'm so grateful for those of you who have reached out, for those of you who have participated, helping with the move. This is an amazing community, and we get to do this together. I know when I'm feeling a bit stagnant and overwhelmed by just such a dramatic change that has happened in the lives of everyone around the world, I get to pick up my Science of Mind book or some other spiritual reading and come back to that truth that we are all one. We are all together, that you all are no more than a phone call or a text away, and it has brought me great comfort and joy. So we remain connected. I'm going to invite everyone into this invocation. Just take a deep, slow breath in and release it. So we recognize the one life, the one power, the one essence that is the all. I know and recognize spirit as love, the truth of its oneness and peace and wholeness. And for those of you here, what is it that I may put into prayer for each of you? Just raise your hand now and ask. Peace to the world. Thank you.
Contentment.
Contentment.
Clarity.
Clarity.
Healing.
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 Healing. Lori.
Safety.
Safety. Mary. Universal healing. Yes. So let us all take those prayer words that have been spoken and affirm the truth that is spirit, that we are spiritual beings, and that there is nothing and no one against us, that we change the vibration by our affirming these truths, that we are peace, and that peace is inherent in each and every being throughout the world and beyond, that we are the absolute wholeness that is spirit. That is the truth. We are perfect, whole, and complete, just as we are. And in that peace, we know contentment, we know solace, and we know perfect rest, and the divine intelligence that is spirit expressing and manifesting everywhere through this divine aspect of it called the law of creation. It is that clarity that each of us seek and know that it is seeking us. So we see a world bright and light, in love, in peace, in joy, operating as a whole in this community of Namaste and beyond. So for that, I give thanks for this law of creation that is ineffable. Nothing can stop it. It always says yes. So we release our prayer. I release this invocation, knowing it is done already in the mind of spirit, and so it is.
Good morning, Namaste. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to see you guys. I can't even tell you, coming out of my skin. Today we're just going to go ahead and do what we do every Sunday and remind ourselves of who we are. And if you haven't memorized it by heart, it's okay. Next time we're out here, we'll have a poster, but I'm going to go ahead and read it for y'all. So, who we are. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is love, truth, light, and peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we recognize that we are one. Namaste. And our practice is basically that we learn science of mind tools, practical science of mind tools, and practice in a loving, connective, and vibrant community to reveal the power and change my life. Our power statements are that we are a thriving, dynamic spiritual community. Hashtag we are Namaste. Hashtag this stuff works. Okay. Right on, huh? I'm so excited to be here. I can't tell y'all. So I have basically one announcement, a big announcement. As of, October 4th, we're going to be doing virtual from our new home. And the big reminder is don't sign in at 3, don't sign in at noon, don't sign in at 10. We're starting at 4:30. So don't forget, our time change is very important. We don't want anybody to miss out. And also for a future announcement, not quite sure when it's going to start, but we're looking forward to doing what we're going to call a lottery. And we're going to be able to have a group of people, family members, whatever, in a drawing, and you'll get to actually come to the center, to the church, and be with us while we're doing our service. So that's that. More to come. But as you can tell, it just feels so good to feel in that vibration and be in that energy of each other. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I think that's it for me. Hi, everyone. Would you like me to hold the tape, or are you good?
Yeah.
Some predictable.
I'll take.
Okay, you can take your mask off with you.
Good morning, Namaste.
Move forward, Debbie, to the bag.
Oh.
There you go.
Good morning, Namaste. I have the privilege of just giving a brief message from the Board of Trustees to the community. And it's really, I feel really grateful getting to see each and every one of you this morning. I've seen some people on Zoom, but being in person, it just...
A little louder, Debbie.
Being in person, it's just wonderful. Sorry. Okay. Lately, times have been challenging. We have seen uncertainty rise. The last 6 months have been a wake-up call for the importance of a healthy culture. In reality, a lot of obstacles represent future opportunities to diversify, innovate, and grow. When things get tough, people pull together as a group and move forward united. We are stronger and more resilient. It may feel as though you are not making a difference. However, know that you are, each and every one of you. Yet amid uncertainty, Namaste has thrived. Remember, absolutely. Remember, some challenges are more significant than just ourselves. We need community. Let it lift you. There is perhaps nothing more important in living a truly peaceful, abundant life than living in the state of appreciation and gratitude. Giving thanks for all you do, giving thanks for all you do giving thanks for all you do not only makes you feel abundant and blessed instantly, it also attracts more to be grateful for. That's how we live. We say thank you in advance for what is already ours. The Board of Trustees is so excited for what lays ahead. We have a new path. It is littered with every memory, lived experience, and the presence of all who have shared this journey, past or present. It is a vision realized. It is our new home, and it is the space where we have placed our faith.
So just a reminder that we are going to start service at 4:30 next week. And Reverend Bobby Kong and a small support team will be streaming from our new home at Christ Lutheran Church. So we look forward to seeing you virtually. And I just feel so blessed to be here. And this is,
Yes.
and a little comedy. Thank you, Tate. Thank you, everybody.
That's so good. You gotta love that, right? Oh. That was a message from your board, your new board. So amazing. To make sure I'm heard in both places. This has been quite a month. So I say this, but I have to say this again, and I will probably say it over and over throughout the year, is all the themes that we've picked, they're part of the larger CSL, and they were picked before COVID. So it's not like the talks were picked. The talks I had arranged a few months, pretty much for the whole year, I've had talk titles out there. And I do that so people have an idea what to expect that are part of the team. What I've really found is that as we continue to move through this experience, the topics that we've been exploring have been absolutely in alignment with what's happening. There's a group of folks that are going to be going through practitioner training year 1, and they're here. We have about 5 or 6 folks. And I say that because the same thing happens in Prac 1, right? The same thing happens where life comes in alignment with the very things I'm learning. And so the question I ask myself in this is, what happened first? Was it the divine idea that was speaking that somehow knows? Is it coincidence? You know, what exactly is it that's happening as we do this? So this month is all around fear and facing fear. So we've had talks starting with the beginning of the month. How many got to see Derek Raymond, who was the guest? Amazing young man that I met. I think it must have been about 6 years ago. And I always knew that he and I would have a conversation one day, do something together, and he'll be back because he is so remarkable. So we talked about doubt, skepticism, and belief, knowing that all those things go hand in hand with the development of our faith. They're necessary. So often we think, oh, when I doubt, there's like blame, or somehow I'm not doing this right, or somehow in this experience I should be perfect. We have a culture of perfection. Does anybody not feel that? You cannot make a mistake. And yet what's so interesting about that is if you do not make a mistake, you will not learn. If we don't embrace the very things that we think are mistakes, which is really just missing the mark, that's all that ever meant. That's what the original definition of sin was missing the mark. If we cannot have those experiences and open up to the gift of those experiences and recognize that it's all God. And when I say God, I'm talking about action. For me, that's what God is. It's the divine action of the universe. I'm not one that believes in a person, but I'm not telling you what to believe because you get to explore and figure that out for yourself. Everyone does. But the divine action of God includes everything. It includes all the things that we are really struggling with. It includes COVID. It includes death. It includes, and I really hate, do I hate to say this? I gotta be careful with that. I don't care to say this, but it includes cancer. It includes a whole host of things that are really uncomfortable because I really believe my life should go like this. And believe me, I'm one of those. I believe that life has a perfect track. And I have known that I have put my faith in that perfect track that doesn't happen because it's not true. And anything untrue it really doesn't happen. One of the things that I keep looking at, the fact is, because of this idea of perfection, we live in a culture of anxiety. How many of you have been really anxious through this? Anxious to go outside, anxious to be here even. Oh, excited, but maybe a little anxious in some cases, right? I don't want to get sick. I don't want to be exposed. There are a whole host of things. The economy, anxiety around that. The greatest anxiety that folks feel from a study by Psychology Today was, there were two things. One is not enough money and my health. And I'm sure we have felt both at the same time at some time. So we live in this culture of anxiety, and what that really means is that fear is our primary motivator. Sometimes we don't change things in our lives until fear, the extreme nature of it sometimes, motivates us to make changes in our lives. And that motivation might be to actually not just educate ourselves, because I found this, education is not transformation, by the way. Just because I read the book, just because I watch the podcast, that doesn't transform. Transformation is the practice of it, and the imperfect practice of it. The Buddha said, doubt everything and find your own light. When I'm educated, I'm taking someone else's beliefs, what someone else has learned, and I'm taking that and making it mine. But I have to make it mine through the practice of it, finding my own way. You cannot take the words I share or the words that the practitioner shares, Candace, remarkable, and take those as your own, but you can try them on and see how they fit and make it fit for yourself, because that's how we find our own truth. There is a larger truth in the universe. There are spiritual principles that operate, but when it comes to the individuation of it, that's where we start to see where things start to get subtly different, but only different in our own minds, because the larger truth still holds. J.R. Tolkien said, faithless is he that says farewell when the road darkens. Sometimes the road gets really dark. And the darkness really is just, I don't know. I don't know what's ahead. And by the way, it's always dark ahead, which is, I can't necessarily see something. But by the way, there's always light present in darkness, and there's always darkness present in light. Both are equally good. We sometimes have characterized darkness as being something bad, and it's not. It's beautiful, and it's the mystery of life. And we need to own and hold both as perfection. Our culture, even when it comes down to racism, has held beliefs about it, and we need to release those beliefs and recognize that all is God and all is good. Bringing faith to our experience, to our practice, only requires a small yes. Doesn't require a big one. Just the idea of saying yes to something, which is a little part inside of me that says, yes, I'm going to do this. Yes, I'm going to try this. Yes, I'm going to figure this out, whatever that is, because it only needs a small yes. Jesus, the master teacher, even said, small as a mustard seed. Does anybody know how big a mustard seed is? How big is it? It's barely seeable, right? That's as much faith we need to change. Thank you for that, Paulette and Jackie. What's really interesting about it is, in our culture, no comes so much more easily than yes. No, I don't want to do that. No, I'm too tired. No, that's uncomfortable. No, that's too scary. No, it's too hard. We jump to no so easily. Because we think the yes sometimes, at least in my case, I think the yes is so big. But I can step in it where I'm at. I don't have to step in it where I see someone else at. I just have to step into my own yes and what that means. What that does is, when I say a small yes, it allows me to hold the tension of the paradox specifically between my yes and the no, I'm leaving. There's a tension in that. I find it so interesting as an example is, here we are in COVID. Everything is about breath right now. Everything. George Floyd, I cannot breathe. COVID affects our breathing. Even the masks we wear, everything that's happening is about breath, and underneath it all, breath is about freedom. And as a culture, we're speaking and feeling into something so much bigger, in which a time has come and is being asked of us to be aware, to be conscious of things where in essence we may have privilege in places and absolutely that we do not know about. Whether it's white privilege or straight privilege or gender privilege, whatever it is, we get to feel into that and see what part of my own life am I not being conscious, and just say a tiny yes to it. Abled privilege as well. I want to make sure I mention as many as my head will pull up. It's so important for us to do this. We will always hold the tension of the paradox of different elements in our lives. It will never be without that tension. It's part of who we are. There will always be loss in everything. When we say yes to something, there's loss in what we've said no to. Always. I remember some years ago, I was at a mass. And I'm going to say this as respectfully as I can, because the story is what is important. And the priest who was doing the mass, it was for a funeral, made the statement that it was for a young person, and that was that our children should never die before us. Is that true? It's not true. Things will happen that appear unfair and are not necessarily part of our experience. And yet we continue to refuse to accept that it's all part of it, which is the fullness of God, the fullness of the experience of life. Fear often distorts our faith. It is the one thing that will distort it always. If we choose not to get into faith, it's because we're afraid of many things. What is one thing that I'm afraid of that's in the way of my faith, of some part of my life? Yes. Yes, Eileen.
Not getting what we think we need.
Not getting what we think we need. Doesn't have to be so specific. It could be a belief. Go ahead. Afraid of being alone. Maybe I'll always be alone, right? Reggie. Things not being fair. Absolutely. Anyone else? Afraid of judgment. I'm not good enough. What did you say? What did you say? Beetles?
Mosquitoes.
She's afraid of mosquitoes. I'm not thrilled with them. I do like beetles. Oh, that's really good, Valerie. So I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it because of Valerie. So this is not the season of them. I would duck and believe me, through this entire summer, beetles were in our backyard when I was back there, and I don't know if you ever saw me duck or look up. That would be why. So it was really interesting is these, I call them flying cows. Thank you, Chris Schreiber. Because the physics of them flying is impossible. Literally, they should not be able to fly. And by the way, they're blind. So they're just trying to land on a piece of fruit, really is what they're doing. So I'm talking to Valerie, and you were with me that Sunday, and these beetles are flying around. She's in the backyard with me, and we're about to do service. And she starts to tell me, what, Valerie? What are beetles? But you said something about what they bring. You totally forgot?
They bring
Healing.
They bring medicine.
They bring medicine.
That's what I said. I said they bring medicine.
And I looked at her and I went, oh, I thought they were just scary and annoying. So it was interesting. I kind of sat with that for just a short while after Valerie said that to me, and I decided to say a tiny little yes. And I'm not kidding you, as close as that beetle was, this is silly, but I'd be dodging it and running away and strangling myself with this mic. I don't feel that way because I said a tiny yes to something else. That's all it required. I didn't have to jump in fully. I just had to say a tiny yes. You see, because what happens is faith will not be denied. It does not take no for an answer. Once you say the tiny yes, you're moving. Life is shifting. And what you've just said yes to is letting go of the fear that's in the way of what you just said yes to. It started. It's like a ball rolling down the hill. It's like the ball rolling down the hill. One of the things that happened yesterday during the move is when I was looking at everything that we've let go, which is what's left. And I thought for a moment, I hope Susan isn't going to be totally pissed off at me when she sees how much we sold. My legacy will be getting rid of all of Namaste's stuff. For just a moment, I panicked. I said something to Susan about it. It was so funny. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's going to get mad at me. I can feel it. Somebody's going, what did you do, Reverend Bobby? How could you get rid of all our stuff? And then when we were sitting in the sanctuary, our sanctuary that we share with a beautiful community, and I sat there, and when Ray said, now it feels real, we had said yes. We had said yes some time ago. So the anxiety or the trepidation that started to come on, which by the way, I've named Jerry. I've said this before. Just wasn't that big. I'll do it again tomorrow. Jerry will remind me. Because Jerry and I have to have this conversation over and over. But I've agreed to have this conversation and to allow it to fade and go into the nothingness from where it came. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, all I have seen teaches me to trust the Creator for all I have not seen. If I am completely reliant, and this is the tricky part of this philosophy, we're so often call form something I can see. Form isn't everything I can see. Sometimes form is absolutely, I cannot see anything. Sometimes form, and I'll tell you this, 100% of the time, form is what I believe. Form is what I have faith in. That's form. He agreed. He agrees. You see, spiritual knowing, that's what we use spiritual mind treatment for, is to come to an understanding of the truth of what is. That's why as practitioners, that's why I went into practitioner training. I wanted to continue to anchor in deeper the truth of something. And I wanted the tools to do it, and I wanted the experience to do it, and I wanted the community to do it in, and I wanted to go deeper. That's why we teach the classes we teach. That's why community is so important. That's why I feel so much better today being with you. It feels so good. Faith speaks an affirmative language. Faith knows that the universe is a spiritual system, that we are part of this system. It knows that our environment is also part of the system and would be perfect if it were known to be so. Faith knows the life of each one is God, the birthless and the deathless reality of all being. Ernest Holmes, our founder. So let me give you a feeling behind faith. Love. So just say that in your mask, not loud. Just say love. And anything you want to do, Anytime you want to say yes to something new through faith, say it from love. Because that's where it starts. Love of self, knowing love is what all there is. Love is the creative energy of the universe. That's where it springs forth. The love is where it comes from. So what we give, we get out. It's the way it works. For those of you in IT, good data in, good data out. Same thing applies. What we give to faith, we get back from our perspective. What we give to it is what our perspective unfolds as. Our perspective is what changes, and therefore our belief becomes anchored into who we are. Joel Goldsmith, one of my favorites, which our prac class will be learning about, he says, in practicing the presence, the degree of spiritual consciousness which we attain can be measured by the extent to which we relinquish our dependence on the external world of form and place our faith and confidence in something greater than ourselves, in the infinite invisible, which can surmount any and every obstacle. Here it is. It is an awareness of the grace of God. Grace is a powerful word. It's one of my favorites because it means that everything is unfolding in divine right order, as am I. We need to get comfortable with mystery. We need to get comfortable with what we don't know. We need to know that one of the things that happens, and I know this for my own life, is that chaos precedes great leaps of transformation. Chaos, meaning chaos is just an unknown pattern. That's all it is. We just don't know the pattern yet. It is up to us. So as we close this month of faith, let me just ask you to place your hand on your heart. I have to be careful because I got a mic here. So as I place this hand on my heart, so I want you to just say after me, but I want you to say it in a whisper in which isn't to me, it's to you. The whisper is to you. Take a breath in. Let's appreciate the breath first. Wow. Even in the Mass, the breath is so appreciated. Let us whisper love. Love. Let us whisper it 2 more times at your own pace. Now, this time, if you haven't done it yet, I want you to take your toes and I want you to wiggle them. I want you to unfold if you would. Just wiggle your toes. Now I want you to say love, and I want that love to go all the way to your toes. Are you ready? So let me just hold this in the prayer that is today. That there is God and only God. There's this experience that we're having, this expression of each one of us, not just mine, but each one here, each one in this city that is Long Beach, each one that is in this nation, this planet we call Earth. Each one of us are having an experience and an expression of ourselves in which is all God. There is nothing that isn't part of that oneness. It is all one. This container I travel in, what I know is that what I see is not where it ends. It is beyond that. Right here, I am in conversation and in touch with you, Julie, and you, Paulette, and Jackie, and Eileen, and Lori, Cheryl, and Chuck. Each one of us, we're having this experience together in which we are touching one another. It is the divine. It's all of us together. So I just anchor into that feeling right here and right now, knowing that it is all love and it is all God. I'm grateful to be part of this community. And yes, there have been moments when I just wondered, how? How? And yet we managed to do that. We managed to continue to do that. And in this prayer that I'm speaking right now, because as I'm speaking, it doesn't matter whether I start with, this is prayer. Prayer is what I say. Right, Eileen? This prayer that I'm speaking right here and right now is to bless this community on its next step, its next milestone, its next place to be. Knowing that community is the place where we grow. Community is the place that we get to experience the divine by what we beautifully believe at Namaste is the face of God in me sees the face of God in you. But not just you, every creature, every tree, every blade of grass, everything. So let me just hold this journey as so sacred. Let me just feel gratitude for getting to see each face here. So before I close this prayer, I ask that you look around and just bless each one here on this journey that we call Namaste. And then lastly, bless this camera because there's people there too. So reach out to our virtual folks here too and just give them some love. So let us hold this as truth. Let us hold this in love. And so it is. Amen. Oh, thank you. I want to thank some folks who got us here. I want to thank Ray. Thank you, Ray. And Terry, our director. Tori. Candace. Valerie. Desiree, because Desiree and Ray, we have a new website that's going to be launching in a couple weeks. Desiree, Ray, and myself, we've worked tirelessly. I want to thank my wife, who puts up with my, oh my gosh, really? Not another plague. Julie and Jackie, thank you for welcoming today. I'm looking around, and all of you that have shown up to a Zoom call where I get to see your face, and I know each one of us appreciate that. Joyce opening up her home for one of our services. Thank you, Joyce. Susan, your new board president. Debbie Ann, who writes those beautiful emails that we put out. She's also the board secretary. Tori's doing technology as well as just showing up with muscle and helping. Good stuff, folks. It's good stuff. Okay, what am I doing, Terry?
Giving.
Oh, giving. Oh my gosh, how cool is that?
Give and receive.
Give and receive, Cheryl, right? Cheryl and Vivian packed up the fellowship. Thank you. And our practitioners packed up the books. Love them. If you haven't enjoyed every Monday through Friday spiritual practice, you've missed out because, wow, they do an amazing, it's not a job. What's the word, Candace? Thank you. Thank you. Every morning at 7 a.m. For those of you that sleep past that, I'm sorry. So, giving. This time that we get to give to Namaste. So, I think we have a basket over there. Is that correct? Okay. We're not bringing the basket around. So what I'm going to ask you to do is if you do have your gift with you, you could take it and just place it in the basket. And if you give your gift automatic tithe, that's good. If you're going to give it on Gift Plus or Venmo or PayPal, we've provided absolutely every way possible. So after that gift is placed, if you're placing a gift in there, we're going to let folks do that. I'm going to say something about giving really quick. I remember when I first became a minister, that was the hardest thing for me to do. Because I felt weird about it, like asking for money. But what I really felt into as time went on is the fact that this is my spiritual community and I care about it because I'm spiritually fed here. So this allows us to do the amazing work that we do. And I am so grateful for that. I'm looking for my bag. It's why it's important to give where you're spiritually fed. That is what tithing is. So as we give to that, no matter the amount, that's the key. If I give from my heart, so just take that idea of what my gift is. Can you take that idea of what my gift is? And can you place it here? Because if you don't give from here, it doesn't matter. It's not a gift. It's that place I whisper inside, in which that place from love, to which I speak from, to which I operate from, and I allow that love that is that gift. I allow that love to be me. Because when I give from that place, the value is infinite. So I just bless this gift that has been given as namaste, whether it be time, treasure, or talent, and allow this gift to be its expression as from which it is given. And I bless it, and so it is. Amen. Terry's like, what are you doing, Reverend Bobby? Do you all know our benediction? What does it start with, Terry?
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
What is it?
It's this thing called life.
Where is it?
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is all that I am. Life is all that we are.
I added that. What's next?
I accept it. I am it. And I share it with all.
There it is. What's next?
Just the way it appears
And
just the way it appears not.
Thank you, life.
Yeehaw.
So it is. Thank you, namaste. Have a beautiful week. Please practice physical distancing. You can come together as socially as you want. I call that energetically. Practice physical distance. You can hang out here if you'd like to speak to each other. Please just make sure you practice physical distancing. If you don't do it for you, do it for the other. Do it for the other. Thank you for coming. And I can't wait till next Sunday. Namaste.